How do you define a winner? On our show, it's simply someone who has a purpose and works hard at what one sets out to do. Hello, I'm Bill Moniz, and this is Winners, a Celebration. This program is brought to you by LiUNA Local 183. LiUNA, feel the power. Purpose, hard work, success. When it comes to higher education, the labor institutions in this country have played a major role in terms of helping promising students fulfill their dreams. Local 183 of the Laborers Union of North America, also known as LiUNA, is a pioneer in this field by providing for many years generous scholarship awards to numerous deserving individuals. Today, we're going to meet one of these deserving individuals, but first we have the opportunity to chat with Christian McNeil. He's the administrator of the LiUNA Local 183 Trust Fund, and he spoke to us about the beginnings and the purpose of these scholarships. It's a very brief clip. Let's watch.
The genesis of the Scholarship Trust Fund was for the union and the members to give back to the students and assist them in post-secondary education. And they were one of the first to do it, and the hardworking members make a contribution or allocate a part of their contribution to fund the trust fund, and then on an annual basis they have an award ceremony. They have a process where an application process where all children and grandchildren of active members and retired members can make a application with the hopes of receiving some financial aid in their studies.
One deserving recipient of the LiUNA Local 183 scholarship is with me here today. He's Michael Sampaio. Thank you, Michael, for being here.
Thank you, Bill, for having me.
A pleasure. How are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling great.
Yeah.
A little nervous, but getting past it.
A little nervous. That makes two of us. But a little nervousness is good. I understand you just about finished your bachelor degree?
So I finished this Friday. So tomorrow, April 21st, would be my last day.
Oh, I see. And how was it?
It was a struggle. A lot of late nights, a lot of long essays, a lot of studying, a lot of looking at the computer, but yeah. I'm so happy it's over.
I bet. We'll talk about it a little later on, about this bachelor degree. But before we talk about your many achievements, I'd like to find out a little bit about your background. Your parents are Portuguese?
They're Portuguese, yes.
They were born in Portugal. You were born in Toronto.
In Toronto.
But in your bio, you say, and I can almost hear your voice proudly saying, I'm also Portuguese. Is that true?
It is. I am full Portuguese. Sometimes I feel like I'm more Portuguese than Canadian. My parents grew me and my sisters up to always go to Portugal. We would go like 3 or 4 times a year. So the whole Portuguese culture and the Portuguese language and the Portuguese traditions are entrenched in our lives. So it's very important to keep up that Portuguese mentality and culture in our lives.
3 or 4 times a year. That's very unusual, isn't it?
It is, but I liked it, so I was happy with the unusualness.
We're in Portugal.
So the north. So we're from Braga. So it's about 30, 40 kilometers north of Porto.
Yeah. That's where I used to say it's where all the saints come from.
They are.
The statues.
The statues.
The icons are built
the churches.
there. They had lots of factories. Now, you have 2 sisters?
I do. So I have an older one and a younger one.
Diane and Catherine. You're the middle child.
I'm the middle child.
Ooh. How were you as a child?
I was a little troublemaker. I was good at some days, and then when I wanted to do my trouble, I would find a way to do it and not get in trouble for it. I was always, like you said, I come from the area where all the Satans come from, so I tried portraying that as well.
What kind of trouble did you get into?
a lot of like breaking stuff and maybe like saying stuff I shouldn't, but every kid does that.
Every
so.
kid does that. So you had a happy family
We
life?
did. It was a very happy. It's a very happy life.
But in 2020, something tragic happened in your life.
It did.
And your dad passed away. Yeah. How old was he?
I believe he was 52.
Just 52.
52.
I can imagine. This was in 2020, so it was about 3 years ago. What was the impact on your life?
It was life changing. So we went from a family that was just trying to survive COVID, trying to go through COVID as peacefully and happy as we could. And we were such a happy family. We used to stay up until late, speaking to each other, talking about our days. And then one day to the next, that all finished, that all stopped. And it just became not a family of 5, but a family of 4.
Yeah.
And it did change a lot.
Was this sudden?
It was. So when this happened, he went to work and then he fell and he had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And then a week later, he had a brain aneurysm.
Now, I know of similar situations where the son in the family all of a sudden becomes the parent. Was that what happened to you?
Yeah, it did.
The head of the family, yeah?
Head of the family, the one that didn't want to go out because he had to stay home and help the mom, like my mom around the house. The one that couldn't do his summer vacation in Portugal like he usually does because he has to be here in Canada taking care of things.
Yeah.
The one running to take documents because the hardest struggle of losing someone is all the paperwork and all the work that comes after it. So yeah, it was hard. It was hard becoming a son to like a parent all of a sudden.
I bet. What was your takeaway from all of this? I mean, you went through pain, you went through some readjustment in your life. Was there anything good that came out of it?
Well, there's usually never anything good that comes out of
No.
losing a father, but the one thing I can take away is I see life in a whole different perspective. I
Yeah.
see it as it's not all about working and making money and saving money. It's also about living your life. When you can, go travel, go see the world, spend time with your family, have like those funny moments, cherish those funny moments and forget about the hard moments with your family. And to always just see life as tomorrow you might not be here. So live it every
Wow.
day as if it's your last.
For somebody of your age, that's heavy thinking.
It is. But you have to
Yeah.
think like that when you lose someone so soon.
Yeah. You say on your bio that your dad was a pillar in your life. How influential was he?
He was very influential. So when I had a struggle, when I had relationship issues and all that, he was always the person that I can just go speak to. And he wasn't almost someone that was a father. He was more of someone like as a best friend, where like we would go grocery shopping. We would just be talking about so many things.
A confidant.
Yeah, he was very like someone that you can just speak to, and he just knew the right things to say. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was going to ask you if there were any values that he had given to you that you can apply in life. Obviously, he
He did.
has. Having had such influence on you. We often talk about immigrants that bring stuff in their luggage in terms of hopes and dreams and values. What do you think your parents brought from Portugal?
In terms of hopes, dreams, and values was just the opportunity for us not to suffer what they did, not to have a life where we can have a job that provides with us without having to struggle financially or mentally or physically, to have a job where we can wake up and have just a peaceful day, where
Yeah.
they're not worrying about when the next bill is going to come, where if we're ever going to afford a house. They just want us to have the best education possible so that we can have the best life possible.
Yeah.
So their hopes and dreams was just that their kids can be a success.
And survive.
And survive.
Survive well. Yeah. But it's almost ironic that your dad in life gave you those values. In death, he gave you uh, uh, the ability to go beyond that
He did.
and value other things that are not so material. So your dad continues to have an influence on you.
He does, every
which is
day.
really interesting. And I'm sure they valued you going to school, and because I want to talk about your education. You went to St. Luigi
Catholic
Elementary School, Dante Alighieri
Dante Alighieri.
High School. What kind of student were you?
So in elementary school, like I said, I was a little kid. I was always a little troublemaker.
You did not break things in school.
No, I couldn't because they would call my mom, so I couldn't get away with it. But I was like always like the very like troublemaker one, you know, like playing around, never listening to the teacher. And then high school, I was very more of like the quiet one, the most like more focused on schooling one.
Oh, so you went the other way.
I went completely
You
the other
grew
way.
up.
I grew up. I matured really quickly in high school,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Very good. And then after high school, and this is really interesting because you went from all of this to complete 2 years at Humber College, 2 years of courses related to police work?
so it's more based on the community and like justice services. So it's the police, but it's
Justice.
but more of the justice system.
Where does the interest come from on this?
It comes more of the interest of, so when I was a kid, I used to watch the news a lot. And I used to like going to school, I used to put the radio on. At school, I used to like search up the news. And what I used to not like is hearing so many injustices that's happening in our world, and so many unnecessary injustices with police brutality or just stuff in the community, or you know, the homeless not being treated well, and our indigenous populations not being treated well. And it just kind of grew to me that like, I am one person, but I could change this possibly one day in my life. And that's what I want to do in my line of work, is be able to change people's lives for the better.
Wow. And you got that from television, and we're constantly talking about how bad television is for kids. In your case, it turned out to be
It's be good.
a school
Yeah.
for you. Very interesting. Now, as you said at the beginning, you just finished a bachelor degree in social sciences, and this has to do with the criminal justice, so you continued.
I continue.
Now, this course focused on exactly what you're saying, on the criminal justice system. I'm sure you studied a lot about the injustices that you're talking about.
I did.
Okay, one thing is for the television to sensitize you and show you that there are injustices. Where do you think the interest, though, in doing something about it comes from?
I think it could come from how my family is an immigrant family. We do come from Portugal. We're not from Canada, and we see that there's so many issues with minorities in this country.
You're more sensitive to...
I'm more sensitive to it, so I can relate more to it. So I also brought that in because there are struggles to immigrants that come to Canada, whether it be Portuguese, Italian, Irish, people from Nigeria, people from Jamaica, people from Brazil.
Yeah.
So there is issues along with that, and our criminal justice system protecting and not treating minorities as well as it should. So I also came in the interest of that.
Yeah. You did quite well in school, and for this bachelor, you said you worked really hard.
I did.
So, obviously, I'm assuming you did well.
I did.
Or you're going to do well. You already know?
I believe I made it on the dean's list.
Dean's list.
The dean's list.
It's sort of an honor kind of.
It's like an
role
honorary
thing.
list of like your GPA average being above the 80% percentile.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm looking at a page here that talks about your awards. Ontario Scholar Merit Award. That was in high school, right?
It was.
Yeah. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this LAIUNA Local 183 Scholarship Award in 2019. This was just a year before your father died.
It was.
So he was there with you receiving this award, eh?
He was.
Why do you think you got this award?
Why I believe I got it? I believe I got it just of how hard I worked. Because I believed in myself, and I believe that like you can get whatever you want if you put your heart and mind into it. And I believe that kind of my ideas correlate with what the scholarship is for. It's to help people that have immigrant backgrounds or come from families of not as much privilege as other people. So I believe I'm very connected with the scholarship, and that's why I was able to work hard to receive it.
Your father, of course, was a member of Lyuna, Local 183, right?
He was.
Yeah, you worked there for a number of years?
He worked. I believe it's more than 20 years that he worked with Lyuna.
It was a life, huh?
It was.
There is money, obviously, that comes with a scholarship. That's what it's about. And it helps you over how many years? 2, 3?
2 years.
2 years in this case. Can you tell me what this scholarship, aside from financial help, what it did for you?
It was a source of pride and kind of a source of relief because there was pressure for me to get the scholarship.
Yeah.
So it basically just showed that like your hard work does pay off. That if you put your mind into whatever you want, you will get it. And it's just more kind of like I'm working hard, I'm putting these hours in, and it's kind of like a gift to to myself almost.
And that's a reaffirmation of what you're doing.
Yes.
It's, I see your mom up there with you the day that you got the award, the scholarship. Yeah. I have another picture of you and the family that we're showing as well that day. Can I ask you this? Without this award, would you have been able to continue your studies?
So I would most likely have to go through like government assisted help, like funding, like OSAP.
You would need assistance from other
I would need
sources.
assistance.
Yeah. So it came at the right time.
Came at the perfect time.
Yeah.
It did.
Now, your school achievements are not the only area where you have excelled, and stay where you are because there's more about you after a short pause.
Welcome to Go Live TV, the first intercultural IPTV station that broadcasts over 50 shows in 22 different languages. Here at Go Live TV, you can now book your event at our venue. We have green screens, multiple sets and backdrops, including a fully equipped kitchen and a news studio, a photography booth, podcast and radio station, a stage with a 9x14-foot video wall, and much more. Book our studio now. Go Live TV, the only multimedia one-stop shop, offering everything you need to take your event to the next level.
I'm with Michael Sampaio, who's a very hardworking young man, very proud of his heritage, very successful in school, but also very committed to the community. You've served as a volunteer with the Toronto Police Services. Now, I see here on my notes that you volunteered with SHSM, non-profit program. What is that all about?
So SHSM is a skilled high school major. So it's basically a program in high school that you join, and they just put you in a bunch of programs and activities that lean towards more like nonprofit organizations and helping people with not as much privileges and opportunities as one may have.
And you were also a paid worker with YIPI.
So that is the Youth in Policing Initiative. So it's a high school program where you do get paid by the Toronto Police, and you go to like after school programs and to communities with like more disadvantaged children, and you just help with them, you talk to them, you play with them.
Yeah.
You kind of just lean them towards the right direction. And then you also would like surveillance, like open houses to new police stations around the city.
Yeah.
And then just do a lot of community work.
You served as a role model to these kids?
We did.
Sort of?
We did. It was almost like that.
And this was, of course, in the same field as what you were taking
Yes,
in
correct.
high school. So one thing complemented the other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm thinking this type of involvement, when I hear about people that help children that are less privileged, it suggests to me that people that do this have a strong sense of responsibility. Do you feel yourself as a leader and role model?
I do. So I see myself as someone that does come from a family that was underprivileged and was able to grow out of that and grow. And I just want to show children that even though you are going through a rough time in your life, that just kind of just look at me and I can guide you, and you will surpass whatever you're going through, and you'll live the life that you want, and what you want to do in life, you'll conquer it.
Wonderful, wonderful. You haven't been just busy doing community work or studying. We know that traveling is a passion of yours.
It is.
Because you traveled as a child 3-4 times a year to Portugal, so you got the bug. Did
I
you?
do.
Did you get the bug?
I did.
Yeah. Have you traveled anywhere else?
So in the
Other than
last
Portugal?
So the last 2 years, I've traveled to around 12 different countries, and it's just amazing what the world offers and the diversity and the different landscapes and how cool and amazing the world is. And one of the recent trips I went, actually was able to go to Brazil, and I went also to Mexico, which are the two countries I really wanted to visit because of their culture and,
Strong
and,
cultures.
and the diversity. And
Those two countries have. I have an anthropologist friend who tells me that he considers Brazil and Mexico to have the strongest cultures in the world. Isn't that
They are.
interesting?
There are two cultures that when you come back here, you can't stop thinking about them. It's like you almost want to be part of the culture. You want to be the culture.
Yeah.
And it was very amazing. And
So you like to absorb
I do.
what they offer.
I do. I love going to a new country and kind of not being a tourist, but acting more as a local.
Obviously, it's obvious that that's what you do. Now, what other countries have you gone to? So Mexico, Brazil.
I've been to Colombia. I've been to Bolivia. I've been to Italy. I've been to Portugal, France, Spain, Morocco, Malta. I've been to England. I've been to Wales. I've been to the United States a whole bunch of times. I've been to Cuba, Dominican, the Bahamas.
There's very little left. Tell me what. So you're telling me that what you take from these travels is the culture.
The culture.
Yeah, you appreciate that, eh?
I do.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? And how do you think that's going to serve you? If it's going to serve you, I'm sure it will. But in future plans that you may have, I guess knowing different cultures helps.
It does.
Appreciate people for what they are, right?
What they are, and just understanding their mentality behind many things and why they do what they do. So like if I go to England and for some reason they do something a certain way when I come back to Canada, and let's say I do become a police officer or I become involved with the criminal justice system,
Yeah.
and I see that same habit going on, I don't see it as taboo in Canadian eyes, but I see it as that's normalized in their culture.
Yeah. Wonderful. Now you're just finishing your bachelor degree. Are you getting a job now or what?
So I'm holding off on it because I want to do just a couple more programs, just like little certificates throughout the summer, and just so I can get knowledgeable about different areas I'm not as knowledgeable in as what I want to. But then I want to travel a little bit more. So
You're going to travel now?
I want to travel, yes.
Where are you going?
So
Back to Portugal?
I want to go back to Portugal for a while, and then
For a while?
because it is cheaper to fly from Portugal to many places because it's really expensive to fly from Toronto.
It sure is.
So I just want to travel and see the world even more and experience even more new things.
So you're holding off on the job for now
Yeah.
to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when you come back, what are your plans?
So my plans would be to apply for something involved with the criminal justice system, not so more the policing aspect of it, of more of like the community aspect of it, and be more involved with the struggles that people are going through and how to help them overcome them.
Yeah. Now, in your bio, you say, and I'm going to quote, I look to change the way our legal system and institutions view society and the injustices, that word again, that are formed from negative opinions, thoughts, and historical formations of hate. Okay, let me ask you this question. What do you think needs to change the most in our legal system today? If you could pick the most important thing in your mind, what would it be?
The historical aspect of it. So the mentality and the points of views of our legal system are very, very ancient still. They're very from 100 to 200 years ago. But we all know that society changes, things change. Canada has changed in the last 100 years. And we can't be in our legal system with the same mentality as we do 100 years ago when it has changed so much.
Yeah. Can you come up with an example in Canada?
Example of Canada?
I don't want to put words in your mind, but would the Aboriginal situation be one?
That would be a huge thing. So we know that Aboriginals are still they're not seen as full Canadians as all of us are, as Canadians are, and that's a huge thing in our legal system because we still have the Indian status card, we still have Indigenous people living on reserves, and they're not given the same afforded adequate infrastructure or healthcare or education as we all are. So that's a huge issue in our legal system that they don't see Indigenous people as equal as Canadians are. And so that doesn't afford them the same privileges as us Canadians.
You being just one person, how do you go about helping fix a big problem such as this one? What do you do? What do you do? Do you go out on the street and protest? What do you do?
So it's more minor changes. Every day you meet someone that has that same mentality as our current ancient historical legal system, and you speak to them, you talk to them, and one by one you will
Little by little,
you'll change the way people think. It can be one person. You can even change only the mentality of 10 different people. You're already changing the world in some way.
Little by little.
And little by little.
Yeah. I've heard that from so-called thinkers, and you got it right. We're unfortunately coming to the end, because I've enjoyed this chat with you.
Thank you.
I'd like to maybe, when you come back from your travels and you've got a job, we can do another interview and find out what you're doing. But I'd like to pick your brain on one final thing. We said in our opening that purpose and hard work help you finish what you set out to do, and that, in our opinion, makes you a winner. In your case, do you think, or what do you think has helped you succeed in achieving your goals? Just in a very short sentence, what do you think? Is it also purpose and hard work, or is there more than that?
There's also the people that you connect yourself with, and the people that you surround yourself with help you achieve your goals and achieve the purpose that you want in life. And having a very strong family and a family that loves you and supports you is the biggest thing that can take out of all of it.
Do you see yourself as a winner?
I do. I see myself as a winner with the scholarship. In life, I want to do what I believe I came to this world to achieve. And once I achieve it, that's when I think I'll become a full-on winner.
Amen, I say to that. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you
Good
so much,
luck
Bill. Thank
in
you.
your pursuits. Happy travels.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll see you very soon.
Of course.
And we will see you, audience out there, very soon as well. Thank you for being with us. Till next time. Thank you.